On SourceFedNERD. As always, this show is taped live in front of an audience on the internet, and we do it every single Friday. Today we had to do it a little bit early because there's some construction going on here at our office, and we all need to be out of the building by a certain time, so we had to push it early. But normally this show is every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You should join us live so you can talk to us in the chat and tweet at us with the hashtag SHRoundup. I am Matt Lieberman, and this show is available on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on effing-tube, okay? So, if you want to listen to it, some people have been having issues with their RSS feeds. Go resubscribe to the podcast. It'll immediately solve the problem. You'll get all the episodes to your feed immediately. The whole freaking gang is here. Maud Garrett is here.
Hey, guys. May the force be with you.
Sam Basher.
Hello.
And DJ Wooldridge.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Sam is wearing a fantastic Flash hat.
I have to say a thing. I'll do an official thank you on my Instagram and Twitter to the person who made this, but a viewer actually made this for me and sent it in.
It's badass.
It's really cool.
That's hand-stitched, too.
Yeah, it is hand-stitched.
That's made with
And
love.
also, you don't have nearly as big a dome
I know.
as Grant Gustin has.
As the TV show one. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So today on the show, we're going to be reviewing the new DC animated release, Justice League Gods and Monsters, as well as the web series component, Justice League Gods and Monsters Chronicles, that aired on Machinima a few weeks ago. We're also going to be talking about all the latest news in superhero movies and television.
Sam Flasher.
I love it. Let's give some shout-outs real quick in the chat here. Mary Tarnacki, Billa, Cheyenne Elizabeth, Logan Kerr, Amy Pena, Maya Avi Isaac, Tatiana Karkok, Charlie Hogan, Leylures, the Footy Doctor.
Wow,
hello.
Hey.
Yes. So, folks, this week in news, there was a massive hoodwinking that went on. Some people actually believe that it was true, that the entire Spider-Man movie had been cast, and the choices were dubious at best for most of them.
Look, what a way to start the day, I feel. This is the kind of news that you just hope for. And
you hope you get a whole cast in one day.
The fact that it's a document, it's Latino review, take it with not a grain of salt, but like with the whole salty ocean. Some of the big standouts for me, we apparently have our two villains announced. It's going to be Vulture and Scorpion. Vulture is apparently going to be Billy Zane.
Yay.
And I really see this.
You really see the choice?
Ever since he was in Titanic, he has played a great villain.
Have you guys seen the Amazon pilot Mad Dogs?
I did not watch Mad Dogs.
He is fantastic in it. It is a good pilot. It takes a little while to get going, but he's great in it, and the pilot is great. I couldn't recommend it more.
Is he good or bad in it? Like, not as acting?
I will not tell you. You'll have to see it.
Oh, well,
You have to find out.
He was in Scorpion King 3, the straight-to-DVD movie, and I recommend that.
He was also
Or
in
Titanic.
The Phantom, which I will
Honestly,
not recommend.
If I were the showrunner of Supergirl and they were like, "Hey, you're allowed to use Lex Luthor," he'd be the first person I call for the TV Lex Luthor.
He'd
He'd
be
kill
really
it.
Yeah,
good.
he would be a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah, if you watch Mad Dogs, you'll see it.
Yeah, and it's like he woke up one day and just had no hair, so it's perfect for Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I like him. I like him for Vulture though. Vulture's a little bit erratic though, and Billy Zane always kind of seems really reserved and powerful, like a Lex Luthor. So I'd be excited to see how he could kind of become Vulture.
He definitely makes more sense than Jason Biggs as Scorpion, which was on there.
But did you guys hear about the Spider-Man 4 movie that was in the works?
With John Malkovich as the Vulture, which
yeah.
to
That would've
me
been
is a much
perfect.
better choice.
It is. Billy Zane would be fine. He'll
Yeah.
be fine. But anyways, Scorpion, Jason
I always
Biggs,
saw Ben
why?
Kingsley as Vulture.
Oh,
That's also an interesting choice.
But he's already the Mandarin.
He
See,
is.
but for me, I feel like
Already sort of the
Vulture
Mandarin.
needs that kind of like thin and gangly, almost skeletal physicality, and I feel like Doug Jones would be my pick for Vulture.
Doug Jones would be great as Vulture if A, they had a Spider-Man TV show with after the success of Flash. They should. Or B, if you have a lot of villains in it. Like he'd be great for like a Sinister Six movie where you can't throw down major
Rest
bucks
in
for
peace.
every single. Yeah.
Yeah, but it came out literally an hour ago from the writers that
That
this
it's
is
not
fake.
Yeah, this
No.
is they've just started working on it. Also, every other like Mary Jane Watson, Flash Thompson, it was basically a who's who from somebody went through their favorite Nick and Disney TV
Yes.
shows and picked people.
Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah.
Come on, the coolest
who?
ones.
as
Not anyone.
Betsy Brandt?
Betsy Brandt.
Yeah.
Thank
There
you.
you
That's
go.
actually not a bad choice.
That's not a bad choice.
But-
Matt knew exactly where I was going.
If Betsy Brandt went to high school with everyone, which
Yeah.
Or
did
actually,
she-
at this
she
point,
doesn't
Amanda
in the
Crossbow's old enough that she could probably be just in college,
Yeah.
which is how, honestly, you know who they should have picked to write the show is Greg Weisman,
Yeah.
who did Spectacular Spider-Man
Yes.
and did such a great job with those characters.
He's
Yes,
very
he did.
busy though, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on Star Wars Rebels. He's not anymore.
Oh,
He's
what?
on Star Wars
Oh, just
Rebels?
season
He was,
one.
yeah, he was on
one.
season 1 of Star Wars Rebels.
Yep.
I'm hoping he's off doing his own thing because he's fantastic and I
Yeah.
love it.
But
He's
what
a very
about
talented
what
dude.
about the cool casting rumors that aren't true anymore about Hugh Laurie playing J. Jonah Jameson and Forrest Whitaker playing
Robbie Robertson.
There you
Robbie
go.
Robertson.
There you
I,
go.
lot
I
of
like
alliteration in
both of
Spider-Man
those
universe.
choices. Like
Yeah.
I think Hugh Laurie is so different in energy from J.K. Simmons,
Yeah.
but is authoritative enough that he could provide a very compelling but very different JJ than J.K. Simmons. But it's like how do you beat that?
JK became so much more intimidating after Whiplash, and now it's like good luck for this guy trying to be the good guy again, because he's always going to be that, sinister, manipulative, kind of icy cold man.
But he's also J.K. Simmons and he's super lovable.
No,
What
yeah.
about J.K. Simmons as Vulture after Whiplash?
I'd watch it.
I could watch
I'd
it.
watch it.
It'd
because
be
he's
really
that,
good.
that cold stone. You need someone who's just like a little loopy, which is
Did
why
you see Juno?
John Malkovich.
He was the dad in it.
Yeah, but
and
he
that's
was
that's my image
sweet.
of him.
Oh,
He's
that's
sweet.
sweet.
He's
That's
sweet.
cute.
He's a good dad.
But
Yeah.
like everyone's saying in the comments, it's not real.
No, it's not real.
Although-
Although,
not real.
that was the only good part was Hugh Laurie and Forrest Whitaker. The only inspiring part.
Well, Logan Kerr in the comments asks, could they just bring back? Why can't they just bring back J.K. Simmons as Jonah?
that's what I
Because
thought.
JK has to say yes.
Yeah, that. But if they could, I think they should. Just like how M transitioned over from the Pierce Brosnan bonds over to the Daniel Craig bonds. It's like just if somebody's doing it right.
Right.
Just
then just
let
keep
it go.
It ain't
Like
broke.
Yeah, exactly.
fewer people will question it than you think. Studios.
Yeah,
It's
Like,
true.
why wasn't he in the Amazing Spider-Man?
because they
I don't
didn't
know.
even have the deal. I don't know what he didn't have a job.
No,
as
he
Peter
did.
Parker.
He sold it to the
The
Daily,
Planet. That's
Bugle,
not.
and
The
then,
Daily
That's not.
Bugle.
That's not.
and he texted J. Jonah Jameson.
That's not.
I feel like
The
he was almost
Amazing
doing a paper
you
run in
just
that
made a
movie.
mistake, DJ.
The Amazing Spider-Man. I hate him.
Yeah.
All right.
Heavy Micro Grow says, in quotes, "I'll punch that bleaker in the wiener," which I do not understand the context or the purpose of this comment.
Is it a quote from Jonah Jameson?
I don't know. I don't know what a bleaker is.
Also, in other news, we had images from Deadpool released this week, which are, to me,
Thank you,
kind of
DJ.
concerning.
Why are they
Why?
concerning?
Be-
We
because-
shouldn't be seeing Deadpool without his mask on.
Yeah, there's a shot that looks like it's clearly later in the movie after.
Because Miranda Baccarin has a different hairstyle.
Yes, and yet Deadpool's mask is off,
And he's not scarred anymore.
Scarred anymore, which makes me think. What it says to me is there's going to be a character arc for Deadpool, and I don't need it or want it in my Deadpool movie.
I'm sorry for
You don't want to. You don't want an arc. You don't want to explain that, because you're often very, very the first person to say this is how storytelling works.
Yeah.
Your main character needs to have an arc for it to be emotionally satisfying. Why doesn't it need an arc?
Deadpool is so wacky, and so I think you should pull a Dredd with him. You should, and Dredd is Dredd, and he's allowed to be Dredd the whole movie. And they gave his partner
The
the
arc.
character arc. That partner Deadpool with somebody. I would.
TJ Miller.
T.J. Miller. T.J. Miller.
It's
should
not
be
T.J.
voicing
Miller.
Deadpool.
It's Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah, but
who's
like-
in like every promotional photo.
Yeah, but like
Because that's a great name.
It's a great name, but
great
the name
name.
isn't in the photo. It's just this girl.
girl. But I think you give that person a character arc and you just let Deadpool be Deadpool. The best use I saw of Deadpool as a character was in Rick Remender's X-Force run, because it kind of showed that his humor and his off-the-wall fourth wall breaking was a sign of serious mental trauma. And so it was kind of like Abed from Community jacked up to 11.
Yeah.
And so it kind of made him more tragic. And I think that works, but like treating him like a normal character is not. I don't.
But characters in like the most recent ones right before Secret Wars, I didn't read it. I'm just basing this off of articles that I've read. Is that they started like dealing more with Wade Wilson more than Deadpool, right? Right. It was the death of Deadpool. That was the last comic run that happened, and it was people liked it. People liked learning about Deadpool's family. I'm not going to be specific, but Deadpool's family. Yeah.
Which is fine. But again, does he need to stop? Does he need to start being Ryan Reynolds and stop being Deadpool for that plot line to work?
Also, he didn't have scars. So wouldn't that be prior to?
It could,
yeah.
and the different haircut.
No,
means it's-
because there's footage of Miranda Baccarin from earlier in the movie where she has longer hair or whatever, and then shit gets real, and he becomes Deadpool, and now she's dressed like a stripper and stuff. So I don't know.
She's falling on tough times. I get it.
The costume looks really cool.
It does.
Yeah,
Okay,
the costume looks really cool.
And the eyes are animated, so that'll be really
that'll
cool.
be
Do you guys
fun.
think, and I'm going to have to say this because it's like, Deadpool's known for breaking the fourth wall, and I kind of foresee this Deadpool to be like an full action-packed movie, but, he'll stop and address the camera. So it's kind of like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but with superpowers.
Which would be great
great
if
way of
that's
looking
what
at
it
it.
was, but
Hey.
I don't think it will be. And again, Ferris does not have an arc. His best friend has an arc.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about Cameron. It's all about his
Cameron.
And you
relationship that
still
he
love
has.
Ferris more than
Yeah.
Cameron, though.
Yeah,
And even his sister?
No, I am Cameron in that movie.
You
Oh.
are?
Yeah,
I've
I'm
heard that
definitely-
from so many people. Like, oh, I'm Cameron.
I'm the Cameron in the. Anyway,
Does that make me... I'll take it.
But just so you guys know, August 4th
Yes.
is when the trailer will premiere, and I believe it's on Conan or on some late night
Conan?
talk show. Conan, there you go.
Conan
And
the
then it's going to be
Barbarian,
shown before Fantastic Four when that hits cinemas, I think,
Next week.
Next
which
week.
we're reviewing next week.
Yeah.
And we'll
Yes.
give our brief thoughts on that before we leave today.
Yes. Any other news from this week? There were some new images.
Batman v Superman
Yeah,
images.
released.
They're the
A
big
ton.
ones from Empire. There's images of beefy Batman
He's
standing
so
next to
He is
beefy
so beefy.
Superman. He looks like he's a balloon animal.
Do you
But
know what I
here's the
think?
thing though. Oh, go ahead, Maud.
Well, I was going to say the neck has always been the point of contention with Batman because it's like, I will always remember if someone cricks their neck, I'm like, oh, you're going to be Batman? They're like,
Yeah.
everything's right. Because
Yeah.
their neck's stuck together. So then they were like, all right, in Nolan's Batman, we want him to
They
have
fixed it. Yeah.
We fixed it,
maneuverability.
and then of course we bring it back.
They,
So
not
I'm
only that,
thinking
but they
it's-
doubled down. It's like twice the size.
Exactly.
Of
So are they having like some sort of movement and that's why it's so thick? So they've given him a little bit of room?
I think so.
That's the
But
only thing that
I-
I'm thinking.
But I guess the reason they went away from the Dark Knight one is because they wanted to look more like Frank Miller's Batman.
Yeah.
Fine, but like it.
Gotta move your head.
I mean, they
works.
literally
It
got the
works.
cover of Frank Miller's comic run in the
in the
trailer.
movie. But
In
it's
the
another
movie.
question I have with Grant Gustin's Flash because that's also a one. Like just have the helmet, the mask be a helmet, and then have the neck be
That's
a
not
separate.
how it works.
Here's why
Except
Fat
right now.
Man doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
It doesn't bother me because in the trailer you see him fight. He moves fast.
Yeah.
So whatever's going on, however the costume looks,
Yeah.
the fact that he is that beefy but able to move with that speed,
Yeah.
it forgives it. It cancels it out.
I also think the only times I've been bothered by the costume is when you see stills.
yeah.
When you see stuff in the trailer, it looks fine.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I want to see it move around more. Also, that picture of Superman like gritting his teeth and like obviously holding like Batman.
Yeah.
Like I'm intimidated. I'm scared.
There's
of
a picture that
Superman.
we actually have, and we might have shown already from Batman v Superman.
So-
That's a behind-the-scenes shot with Superman, Batman, and the nerd in me. Like it's just cool
Yeah.
seeing those characters
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
by
That
each
rippling
other.
cape.
People in the chat
looks
are
really
saying that the neck of the costume is photoshopped and that it's nowhere near as thick.
I mean,
That would
in
be
every
emotion.
image,
Yeah.
it looks super thick.
Yeah.
There's one of the images that released. We don't have it here, but there's one where he's talking to Zack Snyder, and he looks like a monster.
Yeah.
like
He
he looks
does.
like a
He looks
like
like
a
Stay
Shrek
Puft.
monster.
He looks like Stay
Shrek.
Puft.
Yeah,
All right,
it's
here's my
crazy.
other prediction.
Yeah.
When watching this movie, what'll happen is Batman, Batfleck will turn, like he'll be standing there and then he'll turn around and look back.
Yeah.
And then he'll head will move and he'll deliver this one line.
What if he-
and he'll be like, I get it now.
Nah.
He had to move his
What if that's
head
the way
to
he
say
moves?
it.
Is he turns his head and then he pivots his body? Also, in other news, Chris Pine cast as Steve Trevor. Great.
Love it, but it means he's no longer
Solid.
going to be Green Lantern.
Which
Which some
it's
people are like,
fine.
come on, if
Yeah.
there was, you could Steve Trevor. Or
It's,
if he's,
But
it's
also would've
too
been too on the
obvious.
Right now, Steve Trevor is really important in the Justice League comics.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I read comics.
and he's
now,
going to be
guys.
having a lot of fun with Gal Gadot.
Yeah, Gold.
I agree with you.
Gold.
I think it should. It's everything says that's how it's pronounced, except on stage at SDCC, she was announced as Gal Gadot.
I think that person
which
who
is-
announced it got fired.
Well, I mean,
That
it
is
was
just an announcer.
Aisha Tyler, so
Yeah, I don't think
she
she
knows
got
what she's
fired.
doing.
We got a
was it?
tweet here, just in regards to what we were saying about Deadpool, and I don't know if this is corroborated in any way, but Liban Fatah at Leaf Fatah says Deadpool has a holographic image cloaker to disguise himself as anything other than a tumor face.
That sounds kind of dumb, but I'll wait to see the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Deadpool comic thing.
Yeah,
That sounds
it's
like a
it's
Deadpool
fine, and they
comic
had it
thing.
in X-Men, Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Scarecrow in the chat says Jenna Malone's rumored to be Batgirl or Oracle. I read an article article today, it is confirmed, I
She
believe,
is Barbara Gordon.
that she is Barbara Gordon.
Perfect.
Not
Great
necessarily
casting.
Oracle, but
Yeah.
Barbara Gordon. Great casting. And, believe it or not, the first time that Barbara Gordon has ever been portrayed in a movie.
That's right, because in Batman and Robin, it was supposed to be Alfred's niece or something.
Exactly,
Yeah, that
Alfred's
was
niece.
Batgirl.
That's
She was
dumb.
Barbara Pennyworth.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Staying
yeah. Oh, yeah,
on-
that movie's such garbage.
Yeah, staying on the X-Men train, Hugh Jackman did a tweet that said #one last time, where he was asking people's opinions on what they wanted to see, and I was wondering what you guys wanted to see.
One last time. One last time.
Oh yeah, we did a video on this, and I kind of wrote down joke ones, which
Yeah,
ones I
you
would
brought
want to
up
see.
basically him fighting everybody.
Yeah, him fighting everybody. Because what if Wolverine fought Wolverine?
My initial thought,
Shadow Wolverine.
my first thought was,
You ran out
of
of
course,
ideas.
Wolverine versus Hulk, because that's where he first premiered, was fighting Hulk. He was a Hulk villain at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then Brett, one of our other editors, brought up the costume.
Yeah.
Of course, I want to see the costume.
Oh, the
in the
costume
first-
that was
Costume.
teased, and it
How
was actually cut from
beautiful
the
is
Wolverine.
it?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
looking.
there's at the end of
gorgeous.
Wolverine, there was a scene where he's given a gift, and in one cut of it, it is the costume, the iconic costume, and it looks really cool. And at this point, I understand why they didn't go with it in the first X-Men movie, but at the 20 years, like not 20, 15 years later, like we can do it now. Iron Man and Captain America
I
flying
kinda
around,
forgot.
we can do the costume.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's not his costume.
Yeah.
It's not his costume. Oops.
Yeah. What about you guys? What would you like to see? #one last time.
I would say, I mean, the costume is definitely a big one for me. I really want to see a Wolverine Sabretooth relationship that actually works. Like, to me,
They tried
that's
too many times.
I know they've tried too many times, but it's like, give me one last time. Give
Yeah.
me one last time where it actually feels like these guys are brothers. They're at odds. It's like a mythic fucking Cain and Abel story.
They're not brothers. Do you know how it would work really, really well? Is if it was like the Family Guy and Wolverine was just doing his thing, and then it was
the
the
chicken
chicken
fi-
fight.
yeah, yeah.
And it
Well,
lasted
Sabretooth
15
just comes in.
minutes.
Yeah.
And he just goes in, and they just go
That
to
should-
town, and then he puts him down once and for all, and then he just continues
That
on
should
like
be
nothing
what the whole
happened.
movie is. He's just trying to go to the bar, and like Sabretooth comes in and he fights him for 15 minutes, and then he's like, cool. And then Lady Deathstroke comes in and he fights her for 15 minutes, and then
Yeah.
Hulk comes in and he fights him for 15
And then
minutes.
he's like totally battered and
Yeah.
like broken, and then it's like,
I
Feels
need.
up.
what happened? Then he's like, nothing, shrugged it off.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Sam
Whatever.
has a need.
I have a need. I need X-23. I need an X-23.
You need. They could do that without Hugh Jackman.
They could do it without Hugh Jackman. That could be the continuation of the Wolverine series. But I want her to be introduced in that movie at the very least.
She was initially created for the pretty great X-Men Evolution series.
Really?
The surprisingly good X-Men Evolution series.
I really liked that.
yeah,
really
that
liked
was, it was surprisingly good.
X-23.
Do we
Yeah.
attempt to fan cast the next Wolverine, or is it
Uh,
just good
It's
luck?
way too
No,
early.
if you were to do, because at one point they were talking about an X-Men TV show,
Mm-hmm.
and my choice for that actually I think would work is the guy that played Deathstroke on Arrow.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's got that kind of grizzle look,
Gravelly voice.
gravelly voice, and he's kind of short, so he actually works for the traditional physicality of Wolverine, other than Hugh
looks like
Jackman,
a
who's
dad.
tall as shit.
He looks like a dad.
Looks
Yeah.
like a dad.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
he
I
sounds
think,
like Hugh Jackman.
yeah, I think he could be. I think he could really kill it. personally.
We got a question here from John Michael, and we can do this real quick. John Michael at JMTM. How is Wonder Woman going to work in Batman v Superman?
This is not the right time to ask. We don't know. We have no idea. We have literally no idea. Why is she there? We don't
It was
know.
officially announced that the girl, I can't remember her
Data
name, and I
point.
couldn't even pronounce it right if I wanted to, the lady playing Mercy Graves. It was rumored that she was Mercy Graves. It's now been confirmed that she is Mercy Graves. In the comics, Mercy Graves was an Amazon. Originally, she was introduced in the
Really?
Superman animated series, and she was just basically Lex Luthor's Harley Quinn.
And she was just great.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then in the comics she was made to be an Amazon, which might explain Wonder Woman's involvement if that is the case in these movies.
Interesting.
Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, it could also just be the events of Man of Steel shook everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
And I imagine that Gal Gadot
Yeah,
Yep.
Wonder
Yeah.
Woman.
yeah.
yeah, Wonder
Yeah,
Woman, is dispatched from Themyscira to find out what's going on with this Superman guy and figure out what level of threat he is to
Everything.
Paradise Island and
to
everything
everything.
else.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, we'll know when we see it.
We'll know when we see it.
In March.
In March
Manu
of
Bennett,
next
thank
year.
you. For some reason, my
Oh yeah,
brain
Manu
blanked.
Bennett
Manu
is his
Bennett.
name. Yeah.
Manu Bennett, yeah.
Thank you
He's
to
a lovely
Roland
guy.
Monolock the
Yeah.
Third for mentioning the name.
Oh.
It's Manu Bennett.
I didn't remember his
Yeah.
name.
I think that is that it for news.
Oh no, we last
No.
thing.
Yeah,
last
Talbot
thing-
Hannibal.
Daredevil.
Daredevil
Oh,
news.
yeah,
There
yeah,
were
yeah.
2 photos from Daredevil. One with a Shaw and then one with a Psy. The Saw is supposed to tease Gladiator coming in second season.
Who was Melvin Potter in the
Melvin
first
Potter,
season,
who
made the costume.
he made Daredevil's costume. He's the slow guy.
And
One of my
then-
favorite characters in the show.
And then Elektra, who was kind of teased in one sentence that was said in a flashback. She'll be in the show, but we already know that.
Yeah.
And she's been
Already know
cast, and
that.
she looks great, I think.
She's
Yeah.
Still looks
beautiful.
great.
I'm
I'm
going to just keep
excited.
saying she because I've forgotten her name.
Yep, me too.
completely.
Elodie Young.
Oh, look at
That's-
that.
Look at you.
Yeah, I say more the merrier as far as villains go. The last season became a little bit bare, plot wise, and villains help
They
drive
had all these
plot.
people, and they just whittled
It's
them down.
just kind of so I say more that have Gladiator, have Punisher, have Bullseye.
Yeah. And you know what? When I found out that it was Elodie doing Elektra, there was a sigh of relief.
Ha! I got it.
One per episode.
Okay, cool. There is a bit of news that I actually covered during the week, but we haven't put it in here. We probably don't have any pictures, but really, really quickly, because someone mentioned in the comics, will Channing Tatum stay as Gambit?
I think yes, because they have to, right? Like
They were about to start production.
Fox has to do everything it can because there's no. That was the selling point for a Gambit movie. Am I wrong?
I'm pretty
No,
sure he
it
almost
very much
pitched it
was.
to them.
Right. That's
Like,
what
he
I
wanted
heard
this.
too.
Yeah. No, it's kind of shit or get off the pot. If he's not able to do it, you cancel that movie.
Yeah.
Pretty
I had
much.
to
my
think
favorite
about what
saying.
you were. I've never heard that before. Shit or get off
Never
the
heard
pot.
that?
It's a good. It's a good
That's one
saying.
of my favorite
It means
sayings.
you don't have time to think. Do or do,
Do
not.
it.
There is
There's
no try.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
now
welcome.
you're talking in
All
my
right.
Although I
language.
just found out, Rupert Wyatt is supposed to direct a movie. The guy that did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
No, who did Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
Oh, never mind. I don't
Both
care
are-
about this
hey,
movie anymore.
Wait, Rise was fine.
Rise was fine.
Rise
Dawn
was
great.
good.
Dawn,
It was way better than it ever deserved to be.
Hey,
very
for
true.
Matt
but,
Reeves
but yeah,
crushed
but
it.
Dawn was.
Dawn was
A
incredible.
prequel sequel.
A bunch of people on Twitter, before we wrap up news, were all saying what they wanted to see in the Wolverine movie.
Yes.
Cool.
I don't put these on screen just because I want to scroll through them. Michael Pickard at Pickard Your Nose says, I want to see a Wolverine film with him carrying Xavier on his back the whole time, Hodor style. Liban Fata says X-23 introduction.
There you go.
Alex at 1DC Dame says, I would like to see the end of this shit franchise, which the Wolverine was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
No.
I enjoyed the Wolverine quite a bit.
Yeah.
I did not.
I really did.
I
it
was
was
bored.
Matt and I are the same.
It was just such a fluff movie for me.
I appreciated the fact that it knew what it was, it stuck to it, and it didn't feel the need to be 3 hours. 2
Yep.
hours and it was done, and it did its thing.
And it was an offbeat kind of story for a
Yep.
superhero
The
film.
only thing that really
Felt
didn't
intimate
work
and
for me that
personal.
well was the giant robot samurai.
Oh, yeah, no, the
That
third
was a
act
little-
is complete garbage.
Yes.
But the first two acts
Although,
are
if you
good.
saw the uncensored
No,
version,
the first
a lot
act
better.
was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just chopping wood. Gets in the car. I cannot explain. Do it. And he's like, okay. It's like, what? No.
That's his world. That's what he lives in. The world is weird.
And to that, I say,
He's picked up a blaster pistol.
Oh.
And Dark Ninja says the death of Wolverine would be perfect, I think, since it is one last time.
And a lot of people also bring up Old Man Logan, which
Yeah.
I actually think would probably be a good way to.
That's
even though
kinda
I'm not a
cool.
huge fan of that arc, it would be a good way to.
I
Wait,
appreciate
I
it just
like-
from
I
an
like it,
audacity
but
standpoint.
I don't know why would you do that. Why would you? If you do Old Man Logan, don't you need like a lot of the other Marvel universe to
You
make
could make it work with the X-Men characters. Whatever. We'll
like
see.
Civil War.
Yeah,
Let's
they've
see
been-
how
They'll
that
probably-
works.
they'll
they've
probably-
been going back and forth with time so much. There's a blur now.
Yeah, they'll probably do a Dark Knight Rises where they take elements from Old Man Logan and Death of Wolverine and make
There
a
you go.
new kind of end story with it.
I like the end of Death of Wolverine. You guys should check that out. I like
Here's something interesting. Can you scroll up real quick? for
French
us?
fry for Gambit.
The Footy Doctor says Taron Egerton as the
Edgerton.
new Wolverine. Edgerton
So Taron Egerton was in the
was Kingsman, the Secret Service.
I don't know if he can
Joel,
grow
Joel Egerton.
Edgerton.
Joel
Edgerton.
Egerton's an interesting choice.
Edgerton?
Edgerton.
Is
If
Joel
you've seen
Edgerton?
Warrior,
Yeah.
he's
Wait, is
got
this
he
like
can
a
do
thing?
the
This is-
physicality.
yeah.
I've heard Egerton.
It's Edgerton.
Well, but
Really?
he's Australian and Maud is Australian, so I'm going to side
I
with Maud on it.
absolutely.
Oh,
So
I
it's
can't put my
Joel
hand-
Edgerton.
People have
And, you
been
know-
saying Egerton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Joel
Yeah.
Edgerton's brother has directed some pretty cool,
Have you been calling
very
him-
psychedelic shorts, very weird shorts.
Have you
Anyway.
been calling him Hugh Jackman?
No.
Okay, I'm just.
Guys, we need to review
Edgerton.
All right, all right, all
Edgerton.
right. So we are moving on to talking about Justice League Gods and Monsters. We're going to talk about it, no spoilers. Then we're going to do the pull list, and then we're going to talk about it with spoilers for those who have seen it, or who don't care, or just want to hear our full review before they watch it.
There's a D in his name.
It's,
Edgerton.
we, fine.
Edgerton.
We get that it's wrong.
Edgar. Do you call him Edger Right?
Oh, okay, you make a point.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt's got a point.
Matt's got a point. Yeah, so if you want to tell us what your thoughts are on it, that is our question of the day. Are you excited for this thing? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you eager to see it? Do you want to see more of it? Do you want to see more Elseworlds kind of adaptations?
Yeah.
Let us know on Twitter, #SHRoundup, or in the chat. So, right off the bat, you guys, no spoilers. What did you think of the movie?
It was so different for someone like me. Okay, so you would all really consume this in a very different way from what I have, because this is the first time I've seen the Justice League, like these three like this, like the new look, the new feel, all of it. Like, I think it was 20 minutes in, I was like, hold on, who's that? Son of Zod? What's his name? Superman. What? That's it.
Yeah, you like halfway through, you figured it out that this is the Justice League, and you're like, "What? Superman?
The
Wait,
whole
that's
time-
Batman? Wait, is that Wonder? Yeah. What do you think we're
Why did
watching?"
you have think? Okay, so it looks so different for someone like me, but as soon as I kind of was able to get my head around it, I was like, oh, here we go. It's not for children.
It
No,
is not.
not
It's shocking.
decidedly not for
it's
children.
PG-13, right?
That shouldn't be.
I don't know.
That's
There's a lot of
really
blood
pushing
in
it.
it.
Yeah, it's shockingly violent.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway was I was more bothered by the violence in this cartoon than I am from like the violence in Game of Thrones or like something live action. I want to
Really?
know what that says about me.
I don't know, because these are the characters you've watched since you were a kid, and
Sorry.
now they're
They're not the
Staring
same
people
characters
in
you
half?
know.
Like stabbing people
Like,
in the chest. Like that's the thing is like I'm used to seeing like villains do that shit
Yeah.
or anti-heroes or whatever, but like Wonder Woman straight up stabbing a dude in the throat,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff is like real shocking.
Which I think is kind of the point. Like a lot of the
Yeah.
DC animated movies have gotten flack for being kind of like pointlessly violent. And I think the argument could be made for this short, but the other argument this animated film, but also kind of like that's kind of the point is that these aren't this ain't your daddy's Justice League.
No,
But
I
I-
loved it. I loved it. What?
I also think it's like this kind of stuff. It's growing with you as an audience. It's not always going to pander for like a kids thing. 'Cause
Yep.
It's like, well, comics are for adults, so here is adult content.
Yeah.
No, I love this because this is an original piece of content from the DC universe. This is something that nobody's seen before, except for the comics that came out a little bit before that and the animated shorts. But still,
But it's
this
still-
is a
it's
full,
new.
complete story with
Yeah.
a brand new universe, same character names-ish,
Yeah.
but brand new backstories. And I have to say, without any spoilers, Wonder Woman's backstory was the best.
Yeah.
It was
It was
amazing.
easily the best of the three.
I
and
wish
it was
we got even
really
more out of it.
awesome.
Yeah,
it was touching. It sucked.
Yeah, I think
In a
other
good
than
way.
her origin, Wonder Woman was probably the least well defined beyond her origin.
Not to get spoilers.
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely not spoiler. I also feel like this is a great argument for not needing everybody to have their own little like movies before making a team movie. Like I was able to watch this, know who everybody on the team was, understand their dynamic,
And you get
and
a
it only had
flash-
an hour and a half.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, you get a flashback for each one, 5 minutes.
No.
We understand who they are, where they're coming from. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Wonder Woman's portrayal, her characterization was easily my favorite because it was very like sex positive. She was fucking cool.
She was cool.
She was cool, and she held her own. I think better than anybody else on the team. My least favorite character transition was the new Batman, the Kirk
Kyle.
Langstrom Batman.
The voice acting was.
Yeah,
I don't think
Michael C. Hall.
I didn't like him in that at all. Actually,
Yeah.
that was jarring for me.
It grew on me. It grew on me.
It grew on
but-
me over the course of the movie, and I understand why he was cast.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, Dexter, the guy who played Dexter, and, the guy who's playing, like, a vampire.
Scientist.
That
Yeah.
kind of makes sense.
A lot of parallels.
Sounds like we're transitioning into deeper territory.
Yeah.
Should I do my pull list real quick,
Really
and then
quick.
we can really
Pull-
take the gloves off?
Yes.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think we all recommend it. If you're a fan of the DC
Yeah.
Comics characters, it's a fun new world. I think one of my favorite parts is the fact there wasn't any like hand holding with, oh, this is just we're in it.
It
You're in
definitely
and you roll. It
woke
doesn't-
me up in a way that DC animated releases haven't in a while.
Yeah.
I was watching it very actively, because like they've been doing the adaptations of comics, which is great, and I'm
Yeah.
very excited for the Killing Joke
which
adaptation.
Mark Hamill's supposedly coming back for.
Yes, he is.
Very, very exciting.
Yes,
but like
locked
the
in
Dark
for
Knight
that.
Returns one, I already know everything that's happening, so it's exciting to watch. But
Yeah.
this was a wonderful surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Also, if you're a big fan of DC, there's a lot of cool references in there for other characters.
It's true.
And especially in the
Yeah.
Chronicles on Machinima. So next week, comics. At DC, we've got Midnighter #3. Midnighters is the first gay superhero to have his own standalone comic. I've heard great things about it. He's basically Batman that does not mind killing people. So kind of, but not a vampire. So not like the one in Justice League Gods and Monsters. Also, Omega Man #3, which if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, or at least the concept behind it, this is that, but rated R.
Cool.
Wow, I'm in.
It's good. It's really good. I highly recommend it. Over at Marvel, we have Darth Vader #8.
Wow.
The continuing saga of Darth Vader. And also Groot #3.
When next week?
Yeah. And it looks like he's having a little encounter with the Silver Surfer.
That's
Look at that
wonderful.
cover. That got me excited, actually. Silver Surfer is one of the most somber but powerful characters that I have a real love for.
I really wish, for all the people that are like, oh, MCU, whatever, I would like to see Galactus and Silver Surfer over at the MCU.
That'd be really cool.
I think.
God, I mean, if you're gonna, this is the thing about Marvel's universe is that the scale keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, except for Ant-Man, where they're like, all right, let's just take a step back and make a small thing a big deal. I think Galactus.
I want to see.
You want me to see me try and say that word?
Joel Edgerton.
I think he would be the great answer for a supervillain that is like bigger than the destruction of Earth. Because he eats planets.
He does eat.
He
planets.
does eat planets.
We also
that's just frightening.
in the editor's office, we came up with the tagline that should have been with Ant-Man. You know how it was Captain America, the first Avenger, and Spider-Man will probably be Spider-Man, the new Avenger, or whatever.
Right.
Ant-Man should have been Ant-Man, the worst Avenger.
That's funny.
There would have been
Definitely, I would have gone to see that.
Yeah.
And I went to go see it anyway, but
Yeah.
still.
Also, quick recommendation: Cyborg came out. Cyborg #1. You said it. I
Yep.
read it. It was so good. It was so good.
We're all about Cyborg. He's going to be a big thing. They're kind of setting him up to have a lot of airtime.
I'm excited for it in the Justice League movie.
Oh, apparently, guys, there is a squeak in the audio at the moment, and we really apologize. It will be gone next week.
Yeah.
Sorry, babies.
So we apologize for this episode. It will be gone next week. We appreciate your patience. Now, I saw a
actually
comment.
Steve farting a little bit.
Yeah, in the
all time
background.
in the back.
I saw a comment that was from Ready for Explosion. He was asking, Justice League God and Monsters, is it something that someone who is a comics fan but not necessarily a DC fan, would they enjoy it? And I would say absolutely. You won't get a lot of like the subtle references, but these are all new characters to most people who know about DC Comics, and it's fun.
It's fine, and also the story was by and it was produced by Bruce Timm. And I thought one of the things, for one, this made me nostalgic for the Justice League TV show, and partially because of the economy of storytelling. The ability, you only have an hour and a half, and to get all the information that the audience needs within the story. I could have done with it being a little bit longer, but it's...
Because it's 3 story arcs.
Yeah.
3 flashbacks. It's getting to know 3 characters. I kind of wanted to know a little bit more of the dynamic between the 3.
What brought them together?
Yeah.
Other than we get a little bit of why Batman gets involved, but not so much Wonder Woman.
And it sounds like Superman and Wonder Woman have a little bit of history.
According to the movie, Wonder Woman wants to fuck everybody. I found that kind of distracting. If you also watch the Gods and Monsters Chronicles, it's pretty much her just...
Oh, but I love that short.
My favorite is the Superman one. I actually
really?
think I like Gods and Monsters Chronicles better than the movie.
I know. I like Superman's Chronicle more than the movie because, man, that tugs
It's
the
intense.
heartstrings. It's real intense.
The cool thing about the Gods and Monsters Chronicles is there's not so much of the classic. There are Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman's classic enemies in the movie, but they do them in the Gods and Monsters Chronicles.
Right.
The other thing I liked about the movie, speaking about the villains, is that this movie spent a lot of time with a lot of like characters we don't get to see. Like Orion is one of my favorite DC characters. He had a great bit in the movie. The Metal Men are fantastic and they're used really creatively in this movie. And it's just cool to see that shit. Like there's a room of scientists in the movie, and they're all
people you know.
Yeah, that was fun. As a fanboy, that was fun.
Also, big props to the mini horses.
Yeah.
Mini horses,
mini horses were
freaking
great
cute.
and were heartbreaking.
When the cougar's walking away with it in his mouth.
With a mini horse in his mouth. Kayak Raver says, I love the use of the Metal Men in the chat. I totally agree with you. Beth Duffy asked, should I watch the Chronicles before the movie?
I watched them after, and it was fine.
You can watch them whenever you want. I liked seeing them beforehand because it gave me a little bit of an idea of what to expect from each of their characters before we jumped in.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just fun to see them in action on their own before you get into a big plot.
It was kind of like dipping your toe into a pool because this movie is extremely violent, and those Chronicles at least prepared me for that. Like I wasn't shocked when I saw someone get ripped in half. I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Well, we saw the Chronicle with Batman or Superman and Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And that was just so deranged.
It was
Yeah.
strange. I also thought it was the weakest of the three.
It was easily the weakest.
It was the first to come out,
Yeah.
so it definitely kind of messed me up. It messed me up.
It
I was
messed
like,
it-
This is when it's like-
mainly Harley Quinn did.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also I maybe
I
thought it was
don't-
the weakest because I saw it after. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think the big reveal of that short was already. Yeah, I know.
There's something real creepy, I don't know why, about seeing a Harley Quinn costume where you can see that she's wearing like white cotton panties.
Yeah.
It just
Made
kind of
her
skeeved me
crazy.
out a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not. They should have been dirty. That would have been fun.
That would have been funny, but it's just I didn't need to see panties.
Yeah, I'm continually weirded out by how sexualized Harley Quinn is.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It makes
She's
sense
a-
of the context that was given,
Yeah.
and like it's heavily implied in the Batman animated series that her and Poison Ivy are a thing. So there's always been a sexual aspect of the character.
Mm.
Just I don't know.
I think you're right. Like, we were talking about the Wonder Woman as well, and how she's just like, yeah, give it to me. Yeah, now. Yeah. I loved it in the first kind of big battle that she had with Steve Trevor, where he's like, all right, we've got to go. And she's like, no, we're doing this now. And he's
Yeah,
like,
during the
"Really?"
Chronicles episode, I thought it was really well calibrated because she's like, "Oh no, I just killed
Yes.
that robot. I want some dick now."
Now.
So-
and he was like, are we going to
Okay,
need a
okay.
safety word? And
Yeah.
I was like, I loved that.
That's so
Right.
cute.
But then when it's just like, when she was kind of using it as a tease, kind of like, I mean, at one point she's like, no, I'm not owned by any man. And it's like, yay, that's awesome. But a couple of times she was just kind of being that there's a fine line between having power over the sex and using it as a manipulative, in a
Yeah.
manipulative way.
All her
It
plot
was
lines
different.
seem to revolve around who she was sleeping with. Her backstory is who she's getting married to. There's a question constantly raised about if she's with Superman, and then is she with Steve Trevor? It's like all of her plot points seem to deal with who she was sleeping with. And I found that kind of distracting.
Yeah, I also kind of thought that at the climax, she dealt with the smallest threat possible, and,
Well, and
she
also-
is one of the most powerful.
She had the least payoff. Like
Yeah.
Batman very much had a pretty big payoff. I think Superman did too. Wonder Woman was just kind of like, oh, now that the movie's over, I'm going to
Right.
go deal with my issues.
Which made me
Oh,
think-
sorry, I just meant no, I
Off
meant like
camera.
the
Yeah,
final
Yeah, I know the
battle.
final battle,
Yeah, it
battle
was-
with Platinum.
But it made me think that the lead up is that she's got her own thing happening and that they're going to put a lot of attention into it, maybe?
I also kind of hope, I don't know you guys, I'm hoping for a sequel.
Me
I'd like
too.
to see a sequel that introduces this world's version of Green Lantern and Flash and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Now that
Like
we've
that.
established
That-
the Trinity,
'cause that
and
to
maybe
me-
that's a hint of the New Gods being more involved in part 2.
Yeah, well, that to me was the biggest shock. I mean,
It
we're in a
blew you
spoiler
away.
review, so
Yeah.
spoilers. But in Wonder Woman's backstory, she's Becca. She's one of the new gods, and she is meant to be married off to Orion on Apocalypse. And Apocalypse and all those characters in Darkseid,
Darkseid,
they're
yeah.
always meant to be villains. And in this universe, it's Highfather and the new gods who betray Apocalypse and slaughter them
And blow up Darkseid.
blow up fucking Darkseid.
Blow it off. Wait, no, Granny Goodness, bullet through the head.
Bullet
Oh
through
my
the
goodness.
freaking head from one of the freaking nun people.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what is happening?
I remember
like,
seeing her and I was like, oh, Ed Asner, and then like,
Oh god! Yeah.
it-
It was. I think the interesting thing with that, and I think they could have done. I personally would have liked if they did a little bit more with this. Is I got the impression it wasn't so much like this is the universe that's evil. It's more like things are just askew. Like it's not like the whole world's different. It's just Superman is now Zod's son, and that skews things.
Yeah.
And in the comics, it's not so clear cut that the new gods from New Genesis are great all the time. So I got the impression that Darkseid and his minions are still evil. It's just this was
the
new
Highfather's
opening, and he also is an asshole.
yeah.
I liked Superman the most. I think he had the best story in this because he wasn't evil. He was just kind of, powerful, doing whatever he wanted to. And it was cool to see, like, Kal-El, we saw him grow up looking at Jor-El, and Jor-El taught him to be the man, like the savior of Earth, and like
Right,
a
right,
symbol
right.
of Krypton. This one didn't have him.
Yeah.
This one did Zod-El, whatever his name. He doesn't actually have a name. It was just Superman. They
yeah.
never gave him a name. But I like that, and I like to see him grow once Lex Luthor gave him that
That
information,
information.
because I
also
want to
like-
know what he turns into, because he immediately changed into a better person.
I also
Real-
like the idea that he was raised by immigrants. I
Yeah.
would have liked to have seen that explored more.
But
That was
Dios
interesting.
mío.
But you can tell, like, that's why he's not like, I'm here to save everyone. He's like, no, if you're getting it tough, it's because I've been getting it tough.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, strong hand.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
I want to address a comment in the chat, which I think is really, really smart. Fata Army says Wonder Woman uses sex as a coping mechanism. This is somebody who is complicit in the slaughtering of an entire planet. And frankly was being used as a sexual bargaining chip. This is one way that she's able to take that back, in a sense, is by owning her sexuality. And I really do think that it's one of the, even if they lean on it too much in this movie, I like that it is a sex-positive character who has no shame about it, and is also still a badass, maybe the best fighter in the whole fucking team.
Yeah, well,
of the three
she
of them.
goes to take on Steve Trevor. She's like, all right, let's spar. And he's like, you know that you're 50 times stronger than me. I was like, yay.
Yeah. No, I absolutely loved her characterization.
Also,
And
Mother Box and the sword.
yeah,
That was
Holy
very cool.
crap!
love
is
that,
cool.
and very, very creative use of it
used
too.
very effectively. I also really liked. I thought it was a little bit too clean that the final fight, every Justice League member had the one person they were fighting. Thought it would have been interesting if the Metal Men stayed 3 parts to fight Superman, just
Yeah.
to vary it up.
Where were the other
But
two Metal Men?
They
They
absorbed into
merged.
him to become
Oh,
Super Metal Man.
right,
But I
right.
like the use of him teleport. That was one of the most creative Superman fights I've seen in a while. And again, leave it to Bruce Timm and his team to really. They're really good at driving to the core of a character. And I hope they were
hate.
consulted for the Justice League movie just because they're so good at it.
They're
They're
so
so
at,
good,
like-
but it made you hate Will Magnus.
He's so evil.
much, so much. He's
I
such
still
a good
love
guy.
Him. I still love him in the comics.
Me
That's
too.
why I don't understand. Why don't they get Paul Dini to write a superhero movie?
Paul Dini or Bruce Timm, or at least to consult or maybe write a treatment, just because they're really good. If you need to define a bunch of characters and you've got 2 to 3 hours, they could do it.
I'd still
Yeah.
argue that the best Batman movies are animated.
The Mask of the Phantasm is, I think, the
It's a
second best Batman
masterpiece.
movie, in my,
It's a
in my opinion.
masterpiece.
What's the first?
Mask of the Phantasm.
Dark Knight.
There you go.
Dark Knight's probably still the best. But yeah, I don't know. I'd also think I was telling Sam earlier. I hope Suicide Squad crushes. And I hope the message they take away from that is to do more weird stuff. Because Marvel has Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
DC has Metal Men and Doom Patrol and Animal Man and Swamp Thing and all these characters that they could just do really weird, fun stuff with. That they just don't get the love.
I know this thing got canceled, but Justice League Dark, it wasn't even official, but
Yeah.
like it did get canceled, but Justice League Dark would be an amazing movie.
Yeah.
It would be so cool. And also just see John Constantine get some justice once. Just one time, please.
Jamie Cook at JMC Do Re Mi on Twitter actually raises a solid point that I hadn't realized. He said, my problem was that all the characters were in a moral gray area except for the villain. He was just an evil shithead.
Yeah, and they tried to give him a backstory briefly, but it was a little like, oh, I killed my wife, and so then I decided, fuck you guys.
I
And
lasted 1 year before
Yeah.
I punched her and
to
she
death.
died.
And I always hate that convention of like, I didn't mean to. I just hit her so hard that she fell in. It's like that's like a plot point from a movie in the 50s.
No, they use that a lot. They use that like,
a
oh,
lot.
but she hit her
I
head.
like to imagine that's the story he said, and he literally just beat her
and
to death.
that's what he's telling
That's how he
himself. It
tells
wasn't
himself.
that
Pulled
bad.
it back.
Yeah.
If
She
they
didn't
like
trip the
showed
wrong
it.
way.
Yeah.
Whoa, that would have been cool.
But I also thought it was a little bit too clean that like now that we've gone through this adventure, hey, maybe we should be good guys and not kill so much. It's like that's a little clean. That's a little.
Unless he went and looked at his dad's
Zod's
I don't know,
history.
Yeah.
That was. I got a big rapey vibe from Zod scene in the beginning, which I think was purposeful.
Yes.
And it was.
I'm
pretty
just going to
intense.
put my finger, oops,
Oh,
preggies.
well, and now it's no, whatever. But again, I'd like to see like what would they do? Would Carol Ferris be Green Lantern in this universe? It'd be different. Like who's going to be Flash? Would it be the obvious choice of like Eobard Thawne? Like I'd like to see more of what this world.
It's interesting, isn't it? Just because it's nothing that you expect.
No,
Yeah.
I'll tell you who would wind up being the Flash. Leonard Snart.
Yeah, but again, you don't like, and also I think there's a solid setup for a trilogy here because you could do more Justice League in the second one, and then in the third one have them confront the traditional Justice League.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'd like to see it.
I'd even love to see other Elseworld stories, like coming up
Definitely.
with other worlds within the DC animated universe.
I'd be fine with that. That'd
Yeah.
be really cool. This was super original. I enjoyed it. I want more.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's one of the best one of the best animated movies that they've made in a while. It's clever, it's dark, it's violent. The action is excellently choreographed. If you love comics, if you love DC, if you just love good, cool animated action, you owe it to yourself to check it out.
Score out of 10, what would you say?
Out of 10, I would say the movie's an 8.5 out of 10. Like, the more I think about it, the more there are like things that irk me. The motivation of the villain isn't great. No. They do kind of make Wonder Woman one note, even though she's the best character in the whole thing. And I don't like Michael C. Hall's voice acting in the movie. But I think that there's a lot of strong elements here, and it's definitely something that I am going to go back and I'm going to buy on Blu-ray.
This may sound really stupid, and I apologize if it does, but Gods and Monsters, I just didn't really feel that there were enough gods and or monsters to have that title.
I don't know. The new gods were certainly
and he's a
monsters.
vampire.
New gods, and then he's and Batman's
Okay.
a vampire, and then Superman is godlike, even though he's an alien.
Because when I think monsters,
I just
I
think
always
the title was too much. It's too long.
Justice League Gods and
The
Monsters.
Monsters
Chronicles.
Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
I just put them like the new Justice League, or like
Justice League. No, wait. that's
Oh,
taken.
oops.
otherworldly, whatever it is, like parallel universe Justice League, whatever it is. But I was just like, where are the monsters?
What'd you score it?
I want it like Cerberus or something, or a Hydra.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm gonna give 7 or 7.5.
Yeah.
Because I can't appreciate it in the way that you guys have because of all the lore.
Yeah.
I'd say 8.5 to 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. The faults that were there, I accept them and I like them.
I would say 8. Real quickly, thoughts on Fantastic Four for next week?
I
Are we
am.
excited? Are we not excited?
It will be an okay movie. It will be an okay. It's not going to be amazing. It's not going to stand out. It'll be okay.
I mean, I wasn't overwhelmed and I wasn't underwhelmed, so can I just be whelmed? Seriously, that's where I am.
Yeah, I'm going in with zero expectations. I'm sure that it will be a movie.
Yeah. We all
There's
are sure it will be a movie.
There's like an 80% chance it'll be a movie.
Hey, Miles Teller, can you not piss me off in this movie, please?
Oops.
Whiplash.
Also-
great in Whiplash.
Also,
Great
really
in
weird
Whiplash,
to
but-
see him on posters with Mr. Fantastic over his head. It seems like that's Kid Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's Fantastic Junior.
Yeah.
Also, I tweeted at Grant Gustin to get him on this show. I need you guys to tweet at
Grant
him.
Gustin.
Hashtag
Tweet
Grant
Grant
Gustin
Gustin.
We want
for
him on the
SH
show.
Roundup.
Yes.
Hashtag Grant Gustin for SH Roundup.
Yay, let's do it.
Yay.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join us next week for a review of the Fantastic Four, as well as all of the movie news and TV news that's fit in this hour, that will fit. I'm Matt Lieberman.
Maud Garrett.
Sam.
DJ.
Yeah. And hey,
Yay.
rate and review on iTunes if you haven't. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.